Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome to World List. From falling asleep during a robbery to trying to disguise your face with a Sharpie, here are 11 of the dumbest criminals ever. Number 11. Ruben Zarate. In 2008, 18-year-old Ruben Zarate walked into Velasquez Mufflers For Less, an auto garage in Chicago, with plans to rob it. Disguised with a mask and armed with a weapon, Zarate demanded money from the employees. A mechanic explained that only the manager could open the safe, and they weren't in the building at the time. Zarate left not one, but 2 phone numbers with an employee and told the worker to call him when the manager returned. "Make sure to call me, then I'll come back." The employee instead, called the police. Police instructed the employee to call Zarate and tell him the manager had returned to the shop. I'm sure you can guess what happened after that. If you're gonna go through all this trouble, you'd better think this through. Number 10. Klaus Schmidt. In 1995, Klaus Schmidt entered a Berlin bank with a pistol and yelled, "Hand over the money!" It started like a typical bank robbery. And as the heist progressed, the hostages stopped being terrified and just started getting confused. Bank employees noticed that Schmidt was acting rather strangely. Stranger than usual. When an employee asked the criminal if he needed a bag, because he forgot one, he replied, "You're damn right, it's a real gun." He also wasn't responding to other noises, and the workers soon realized Schmidt was deaf. An employee then set off the alarm that went off loudly, and Schmidt was oblivious. He remained calm and patient, spewing occasional threats as the alarm blared and police approached the bank. The officers quickly apprehended Schmidt, who later attempted to sue the bank for exploiting his disability. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Number 9. Christopher Wallace. In March 2015, 22-year-old Christopher Wallace posted Snapchats from his home while he was on the run from police. A few months before, Wallace had stolen a propane cooking stove and cast iron wood-burning stove from a campsite in Maine's Pierce Pond Township. When the man returned home and posted the incriminating Snapchats, a tipster contacted law enforcement. However, the police couldn't find Wallace when they arrived at his home. Right after Wallace successfully evaded the police, he posted another Snapchat, stating that he was at home, hiding in his cupboard. The police were called again, and this time, upon conducting a more thorough search, they found Wallace right where his Snapchat said he'd be, in the cupboard. Wallace was arrested along with his accomplice, 20-year-old Erica Hall, who answered the door when police first visited and told them Wallace hadn't been home in weeks. I say we blame it on Snapchat, folks. And now for number 8. But first, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to World List and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest videos. Number 8. Chastity Eugenia Hobson. In 2016, the Granite Shoals, Texas Police Department caught this girl via a Facebook post, warning methamphetamine users that their drugs were possibly contaminated with Ebola. It was posted as a breaking news alert, but it was clearly a joke. The post urged people to bring their stash into the police station so it could be tested for the deadly virus. Soon after making the post, the police received a call about a suspicious person trying to break into a vehicle, leading them to Chastity Eugenia Hobson. She was wandering the streets high and scared, and suggested that the police test the small amount of meth she had on her for Ebola. Captain Gary Boshiers used the unique incident as an opportunity to warn people about the dangers of meth, and the police put her picture up as the winner of the Facebook post challenge. Number 7. Reno Junior Plaisir. One morning in June 2015, John Terrell of Manchester, New Hampshire awoke shortly after 6 o'clock and discovered an unknown pair of shoes outside the guest bedroom of his home, a home he shares with his wife Eleanor. Inside the bedroom, the culprit Reno Junior Plaisir was fast asleep with a knife in his back pocket. John alerted Eleanor to the presence of an invader, and she dialed 911 while he held Plaisir at gunpoint until police arrived. After slitting open a window screen on the first floor, Plaisir had gone through the entire house, opening doors and cabinets. He even went into the Terrell's refrigerator and helped himself to some leftover chicken wings. Plaisir was charged with burglary, and police found several items in his backpack indicating that he'd recently broke into other homes, including jewelry and credit cards. Luckily, this all ended safely because it could have been much, much worse. Number 6. Mac Yearwood. A Florida man named Mac Yearwood made things much easier for the police when he was wanted in connection with an assault that occurred over Labor Day weekend in 2016. As the cops searched him, they also discovered he had 2 outstanding warrants within the state. The shameless criminal used a wanted poster containing his mugshot and physical details such as height, weight, and age as his Facebook profile picture. Yearwood's feature photo gained mixed reactions from his friends. One friend complimented it by saying, "Hey, nice mugshot." Another friend commented out of concern, calling Yearwood a ding-dong and asking if he planned to square away the issue. Cops traced Yearwood to his brother's house in Stuart, Florida, north of Miami. And how did they do it? Well, by tracking his Facebook, of course. As he put pants on, a bag of marijuana fell out of his pocket, and he politely asked the cops not to charge him with possession. Well, they did charge him. Number 5. Samantha Henson. In late 2014, 26-year-old Samantha Henson of Manchester, Kentucky, was caught trying to shoplift while her son participated in an event called Shop with a Cop. These functions are meant to foster a healthy connection between law enforcement and their community. A disadvantaged child is given a small sum of money, and a police officer takes him or her shopping for Christmas gifts for their family and friends. The program's generosity apparently wasn't enough for Henson, however. During the event, which was held at a local Walmart, employees noticed the woman concealing merchandise underneath her clothing. And they didn't even have to call police as they were already there. Henson was arrested for theft by unlawfully taking under $500. And so what was Henson trying to steal? Well, nothing she needed, just some earrings and some other unnecessary items totaling around $40. Number 4. Miller and McNelly. Back in 2009, 2 Iowa men named Joey Miller and Matthew McNelly came up with a creative way to disguise themselves prior to committing a home invasion. One Friday, October night, police in Carroll, Iowa, received a call about 2 hooded men with painted faces trying to break into a home. A few blocks from the scene, they pulled over a car matching the caller's description, and the officers were shocked by what they saw. Instead of using a ski mask or pair of stockings, 23-year-old McNelly and 20-year-old Miller had scribbled all over their faces with black permanent marker. Things took a humorous turn from there for the police, who were nothing short of amused by the disguises. And as funny as the situation was, the men had committed a serious crime and were rightfully held accountable for their actions. Both were charged with attempted burglary, and McNelly was charged with driving while intoxicated. Number 3. Javi the getaway donkey. Fleeing the scene is a standard component of most robberies, and having the right getaway vehicle can make or break a criminal's ability to evade the law. In Colombia in 2013, 3 thieves abducted a 10-year-old donkey named Javi from his owner as they embarked upon a crime spree. They had big plans for their law-breaking activities the next day, and to the crooks, Javi seemed the perfect getaway vehicle. After all, who needs wheels when you have 3 men and a donkey? 12 hours later, the criminals stole food and rum from a convenience store. They loaded their loot onto Javi, intent on making their escape, but the donkey wasn't having it. Instead of cooperating, he brayed so loudly he drew the attention of some nearby police officers. The robbers made a run for it, leaving Javi and their stolen goods behind. Javi was reunited with his owner after a short stint in a holding cell. Number 2. Darren Kimpton. In Abington, England in 2013, 49-year-old Darren Kimpton plotted what he thought was the perfect burglary. After 36 burglary convictions throughout his life, one would think maybe Kimpton might realize he's bad at crime and consider some other life path. Kimpton, however, was undeterred. After deciding on a home to target, Kimpton went about breaking and entering. Much to his surprise, he walked into a house full of police officers. Apparently, the man's memory wasn't too great. He'd recently broken into that very house and stolen 85 pounds. During his second burglary attempt, the police were at the home taking a report from the victim about the earlier theft. When Kimpton appeared in court to face the music, his crimes were appropriately described as clumsy and pathetic. Number 1. Magana. 17-year-old Magana of Omaha, Nebraska was no amateur criminal when he pointed a fake gun at Melissa Peters and her 13-year-old son and stole the woman's car in March 2014. By then, he'd already robbed 3 of Omaha's businesses throughout his adolescence. The boy kinda overestimated his skills, however, and he found himself in a bind when he was unable to drive Peters' stick-shift vehicle. Melissa's husband, Theo Peters, witnessed the attempted carjacking. Magana tried shifting the car into gear, but it wouldn't move. Out of desperation, the terrified teen began toying with random dials, turning the car's lights and windshield wipers on in the process. But simply, he had no clue what he was doing, but he just kept on trying. He eventually gave up and took off on foot. A neighbor had called the police, who arrived to find Peter's empty car gently rolling into the neighbor's backyard, where it took out a fence. Magana was apprehended after a short foot chase, and given his extensive criminal history, the judge refused to transfer his case to juvenile court, and for the first time, the young man had to take responsibility for his actions as an adult. Thanks for watching. Which one of these stories was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time.